Hello Professor, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. My name is Rama and this is Haley and this is Not 73 Questions with CSC. We are going to start with some rapid fire questions and then we are going to get a little more personal and ask you to dig a little deeper. But before we jump into things, could you please give us a quick introduction of yourself, your name and the courses that you're teaching this term?
My name is Gregor Richards. I am a programming languages person. My field of research is programming languages. My PhD was in programming languages. And I'm teaching 241, which is the compilers course. Makes sense for a programming languages person. I also usually teach 442, but that's only taught in the winter, so I'm not teaching it this term. So you will usually find me in either 241 or 442, or occasionally one of the other PL-related courses, and sometimes 350.
Thank you so much. Now we will be asking you some rapid fire questions. So are you ready?
Sure.
Favorite course to teach so far?
Probably 442.
How long have you been teaching in Waterloo?
Let's see, since 2014, so 8 years.
Favorite book?
Crime and Punishment.
Favorite programming language?
They're all terrible. I hate all programming languages.
Favorite animal?
Is it bizarre to say human? I like humans.
Favorite hat shop?
Oh, that's hard. That's really hard. That's very hard. There's an online hat shop I've used many times called Village Hat Shop that has a nice wide selection and good hats of sort of all genres. So I'll go with Village Hat Shop.
Which field in computer science do you like the most?
I think that's been answered. I'm a programming languages person. Yeah, PL.
If you were not a professor, what would you be doing?
I don't know. So when I was in 6th grade, we were asked, we're doing one of these, like, what do you want to be in life kind of thing. And we were given all of these forms of, like, various jobs that you might be. And what I chose was professor of mathematics. So I think that my path was perhaps chosen pretty early. I'm not really sure where else I would have gone.
Favorite algorithm?
Favorite algorithm? So I like dynamic programming, and as sort of obvious as it is, I like the dynamic programming version of the Fibonacci sequence. I think it's quite elegant in how it solves a non-obvious problem in linear time.
Best food places near campus?
Best food places near campus. Does Uptown count as near campus?
Yeah.
Because I live uptown. If Uptown is included, then Champa Kitchen. I love Champa Kitchen. If Uptown is not included, I really like Quick Burrito. It's surprisingly good for, what is clearly sort of a student-intended place.
Your favorite hat in your collection?
Oh, I don't have a favorite hat, but I do. There's a hat that I think looks the best on me. I like my tricorn because I think it complements my whole look the best. But I wouldn't say that is enough to make it my favorite hat, per se.
Describe your teaching experience in 3 words.
That's... This is supposed to be quick fire. Hectic, varied, fun.
How many hats do you own?
I used to know the exact count. I know that I have more than 200. I don't know, I have lost track of the exact count. I need to just collect them all and re-index all of them to know again.
Where is your favorite study or focus area in Waterloo?
I mean, this sort of doesn't apply to students, so I don't know how my office. I got an office that's just me. That's where I go when I want to think.
Yeah, thank you for answering all the rapid fire questions. Now we'll move on to some deeper questions, and feel free to answer with more than a sentence now. So, yeah. So
I answered as long as I felt like before, so.
So, what's your least favorite thing about being a professor?
There is often bureaucracy and sort of clashing personalities in ways that affect both teaching and research performance that really shouldn't. Even to the point of people who don't fundamentally disagree on anything, but just, can't agree on their separate paths to the ideal world, and thus we end up sort of stuck in quagmires that shouldn't happen because nobody can quite agree.
What sparked your interest in the field of computer science?
So both of my parents have degrees in liberal arts, and would have disowned me if I had gotten a degree in liberal arts. That's not true. I have great parents, but my dad taught me to program BASIC on the Commodore 64 when I was 8. And my mom taught me Logo around that same time, and there was definitely a sort of inkling of we want to make sure that he has a usable skill. That being said, so I nature versus nurture. It is very much just the way I think that I am. I think in algorithms. I frequently have dreams where the solution to some real world problem is an algorithm, not like just, I'm going to program this up on the computer, but I'm just magically going to apply to physical reality this particular software somehow. So it is very much a part of my nature since I was very, very young.
If you could pick any other majors to study or teach that's not CS or math related, what would it be?
Not CS or math related. So I got I was one course short, nearly a minor in archaeology in my undergrad. And I do like sort of deep history, that sort of thing. So archaeology, anthropology, history, something like that.
Where did your interest in hats come from?
So the origination was actually very, very silly. So when I graduated from elementary school to middle school, my elementary school had a rule, no hats. My middle school allowed hats. And I wasn't going to just let that rule go without taking advantage of it. But also, even at the time, I was not the sort of person who would go, okay, I'll get a baseball cap, whatever. And so I got a fedora, and then later I got a beret. And then at some point, my dad bought for me a red fedora. At the time, Red Hat was the biggest Linux distribution, so wearing a red fedora was quite a sign that you use Linux. And at a certain point, once you have a few hats, it just keeps rolling. It's the kind of thing where, suddenly birthday presents are hats, and Christmas presents are hats, and anytime I go on vacation, obviously I'm gonna get a hat. But it bizarrely enough, it really did just start with, in middle school they'll let me wear a hat.
Can you describe how you felt the first time you taught a class in this university?
So, it's worth saying that the first time I taught a class at this university is not the first time I taught a course. So, I was perfectly familiar with teaching and such, and maybe this is an arrogant thing to say, but basically confident. I came in knowing exactly, I knew what was in the course, I knew the material. Well, the first course I taught was 241, which is my field of research. Yeah, as arrogant as it might sound, I'm gonna go with confident, basically.
What's the best advice that you received as a student that you would like to pass on to us?
Advice I received as a student. So, my undergrad experience was odd because I didn't really go to. So I went to Portland State University, and it's a campus that, obviously it had students who were doing undergrad degrees. There was a lot more sort of professionals doing degrees on the side and that kind of thing. And so I don't really feel like I got that kind of advice there, and there's nothing that sort of really stuck in that sense. I'm happy to sort of invent advice if you'd like something that's from me rather than necessarily from the past. So I think that the main thing that I see that causes struggling is students don't practice. I'll pick this random example. So I wrote a solver for Wordle, and then I made it an anti-solver for Wordle because it's far more fun to lose in the most spectacular way possible than to oh great, I can get in 3 words again. Why did I do this? It's not like I need it for work. It's not like I need it for anything. It doesn't serve any purpose, and other people have made Wordle solvers that are probably better than mine. So why did I make it? Because it was fun, because it was something to do. It's a distraction, it's a diversion. So, I don't need to do this kind of thing for practice. I've certainly got my 10,000 hours behind me. I've done way more than enough programming that I don't need this kind of little project for practice. But when students sort of struggle to use the data structures that they have learned, that they notionally learned in class, to use the algorithms they've notionally learned, to use just the platforms they've learned, I think often the biggest problem is they learn it once and then they don't practice. And even though it can feel like, when am I supposed to have time to practice? If you do your own programming, practice, write things that you don't intend to release, or maybe you do, whatever, that you just write because you want them, you write them to scratch an itch, then the total amount of time you spend programming will actually go down, because you won't be beating your head against every assignment, taking countless hours to do things that would all just click naturally if you had, internalized more of the basics. The basic lesson is practice makes perfect, but the sort of expanded version for this of computer science is ask yourself, what software do you write that is not for an assignment, that is not for a co-op, that is not for anyone else, that is for you? That is for you, whether for practice or for fun, just something to do. And if the answer is none, well, that's not going to help you be a better programmer, is it? It's sort of like, I got into Juilliard, but I just play what they tell me to. I certainly never practiced the violin. What?
Yeah, thank you so much for that advice, and thank you for answering all the questions. So we have a special prize waiting for you, but you have to get this pop quiz correct in order to receive the prize. So here's the question. When did Alan Turing, the father of computer science, pass away? And you have to know the day of the week as well.
I certainly don't know the day of the week. I'm not even sure I remember the year. It was late 1930s. Well, no, it might have been 1940s, actually. It was...
You have 3 hints and 5 guesses. So.
Okay.
So the first hint would be the year is 1954.
Oh, okay. Later than I thought.
You want to make the guess right now?
I mean, day of the week. So, if I have if I have 5 guesses, then that's 5 out of 7 days of the week. Did you want the exact date or just the day of the week? My first guess would be that it would be on a Sunday.
Wrong. So you have to get the date as well. So
Wow.
the year is 1954, and the second hint is that it's the same month as right now.
Okay. I think I remember the correct month. I have to get the... So wait, I have to get the date and the day of the week, which
Yeah.
means I have to just have a continuous calendar in my head? I don't have that. There is an algorithm you can use, the Doomsday algorithm, to determine the day of the week for any year if you know certain key days so like there's only 7 calendars basically, and if you know certain key days then you can just do the math to figure it out. I don't know that. I don't have that in my head. I'm gonna say the Ides of June, June 15th. And I'll estimate that was a Wednesday, sure.
That's very close. I'll give you the third hint. So it's June 7th, 1954, and it's not Wednesday, and you guessed Sunday, and it wasn't Sunday. So we have the other 5 days left.
Let's see if I can very quickly develop the ability to do the Doomsday calculation in my head, not knowing it. Hint, I can. So 1954, that is not a leap year. Irrelevant piece of information, doesn't help me at all. June 7th. So, as sort of horrible as it was, the reason I guessed that it was a Sunday is that he committed suicide, and is that something you do after a work day? That's a bizarre psychological question, but as a consequence, I'm gonna guess Saturday, June 7th, 19.
Still close, but not. It's closer to Sunday than a Saturday.
In which case, I'll guess Monday.
You got it right.
It took, 4 guesses.
Here's the prize. Thank you so much for answering all the questions and taking the time to be here with us today. Yeah, thank you so much.